Yeah. Now, you know, the past year has been a challenging one all over the country, not just here in Michigan.
Beat 'em up.
We've seen the Obama administration break the promise they made to us to respect state medical cannabis laws. We've seen a resurgent federal campaign unleashed on patients and caregivers. A well-coordinated multi-agency campaign. Armed federal agents have raided clinics, dispensaries, and access points, seizing medicine, smashing equipment, prosecuting people whose only crime it is to provide medicine to those who need it in states like Montana and Michigan and Washington and California, states where voters have overwhelmingly approved medical cannabis. What are they doing in our states? We've seen these federal prosecutors insert themselves into our local political processes, threatening to prosecute city councils and county supervisors if they regulated cannabis, threatening to prosecute state and local employees if they implement those regulations. We've seen the IRS attack organizations like mine that provide medicine to patients, charging us taxes that no other businesses have to pay, hoping to bankrupt us, drive us out of business, to force the patients back to the streets. The U.S. Treasury Department has closed the bank accounts of thousands of dispensaries. And the BATF, in an incredible move, has denied medical cannabis patients the right to purchase weapons with which to defend themselves. Things like this have happened in almost every single one of the 16 states that have legalized cannabis for medical purposes. All across the country, we see our federal government involved in actions that contravene our basic democratic rights. And the sad result of this campaign is that hundreds of dispensaries have closed nationwide, throwing hundreds of thousands of patients back into the illicit marketplace, destroying tens of thousands of well-paying jobs, hundreds of millions of tax dollars eliminated, and all of those assets have been delivered back into the hands of the criminal underground. It's a policy with all downsides and no up. It's a policy that hurts all Americans, not just those who depend on cannabis for medicine. So, it has been a challenging year, and the current situation can appear bleak. But I'm here to tell you that now is not the time to lose heart or to lose hope. I've been doing this for almost 40 years now, and one thing I've learned is that the pace of social change is uneven. It's often 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But I'll tell you something else. The darkest moment comes before the dawn. The darkest moment comes before the dawn, and that is where we are now. It's the last hurrah for our opponents. They're pushing back now because they know how precarious their position is. And you know, there's only still one class in this country, one class that's really deeply invested in pushing this absurd war on cannabis forward, and that is the prosecutors. Now, you haven't had as much trouble with the U.S. prosecutors here in Michigan as we have in the rest of the country, but that's because you got a prosecutor of your own who's driving you crazy, right? You know, they're pushing back hard now because they know their time is over. They know the American public is no longer invested in this war. They're not. 80% of them, 80% of Americans support medical cannabis, according to the most recent CBS newspaper. And 50% of them support legalization of cannabis for adult use for any purpose. We've seen elected officials, sometimes local officials, sometimes state officials, and sometimes people in the U.S. Congress from Washington and California and Rhode Island and Colorado and Montana and even here in Michigan calling on prosecutors to end this vicious campaign to reschedule cannabis. We see leading medical associations across the country calling for reform. The American Medical Association, the California Medical Association, the American College of Physicians, the list goes on. Civic groups as diverse as the NAACP and the Cato Institute agree that it's time to change the laws. And now Pat Pat Robertson, after years and years as a rabid drug war advocate, has joined our movement. And he is being joined by many others from the faith community. Even law enforcement is joining us in record numbers. You can see it in the growth of organizations like Law Enforcement Against Prohibition and Lawmen Protecting Patients. You can see it in courageous public stands taken by law enforcement officials like Sheriff Tom Allman of Mendocino County. It is only the prosecutor class that is still invested in this war, and they are invested for the most ugly and most base reasons. They are invested because they love the power that this war has given them. They love the money that this war has given them. With the creation of mandatory minimums, the destruction of our Fourth Amendment rights, they love the way this war has shifted power from the judiciary to them, the prosecutors. They love the money that's been shifted from education and social programs to the punishment industry, which they no doubt will join as soon as they get done paying their dues in the revolving door of corruption. They love the ability to seize property from those unlucky enough to be convicted, which they then use to buy the cooperation of law enforcement, which knows better than to treat cannabis as a criminal matter. It was the prosecutors who launched the resurgent federal campaign against cannabis because they know their warped and destructive policies are doomed by the successful models of cannabis distribution we've been able to create in spite of their resistance. It was the prosecutors who started this campaign and the prosecutors who can end it. So as we consider the way forward, we need to focus on the prosecutors, and I include Mr. Schuette in that category.
Oh, yeah!
We must bring the very same kind of effective pressure that we've brought on city councils in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti and Oakland, California and Denver, Colorado. We must flood them with emails and phone calls and fill their offices with angry patients demanding justice. We must focus the spotlight on them, the prosecutors who are driving this thing forward, and shame them for oppressing the city.
Recall!
It's time. Let's call them to account. Now that's not enough, right? That's not enough. We also have to reach out. We learned, unfortunately, we can't count on the Democrats. So we have to reach out and build new alliances with the libertarian wing of the Republican Party. Reach out to people like Ron Paul and Rand Paul and Pat Robertson. And we must all of us activists everywhere, continue to deploy our favorite strategies. But it's also important to support the strategies of others. You know, when I started out in this movement almost 40 years ago, we were a small movement, an isolated movement. There weren't many of us, and we all knew each other. We could fit in one good-sized room then, not too many people, not too many opinions. It was easy to suggest a strategy, discuss it, and come to agreement. Now we're much larger, with more thinkers, more ideas, more debate. There's so many of us now we couldn't even fit in a huge stadium. And we have more tools in our tool chest. We've developed better tactics. And we even have several competing strategies. And that's a good thing. Let us contend in the marketplace of ideas and support each other with unity, even when we don't win the internal debate. We will not agree on everything, but let's always remember that that which unites us is much greater than that which divides us. We may support different strategies, but we all suffer under the same laws. We are arrested by the same cops and thrown in the same jails. We may promote medical cannabis or recreational cannabis or adult use cannabis, but we all love the same plant. We all share the same destiny, and so we must support each other's efforts. One plant, one people, one truth. We all share the same destiny, and I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, today that that destiny is victory. Remember that hard times come and hard times pass. And I look out in the crowd to see many young faces, and I want to speak to you directly for a moment because we are counting on you to carry this thing through. It's your generation that will finish the work that we started. Do not lose hope. I'm here to tell you today that we will win. Ultimate victory is ours. Just do the math. Look at the public opinion polls. Look at the trend lines. Look at the number of medical associations who have endorsed our position. Look at the number of politicians joining our cause. Look at the ever-increasing number of young people joining us. There's no question, there's no doubt, regardless of the uneven pace of social change, regardless of the resistance of the prosecutor class, regardless of the broken promises of the Obama administration, we are on the road to victory. We made our decision, and we'll stick with it. We've stepped out of the shadows and into the light. We're never going back. We're never going back to that place of oppression and darkness and shadows again. We've stepped out of the shadows and into the light, and that's where we're going to stay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody they want, put it on the internet. Robert Stern. Yes, well, this person's car, handicapped person's car, this isn't yours. You have no right to push me into this. I'm not going to stop talking. I have the freedom. Let him go! I do. I have the freedom of I can speak when they push me to public property. They grab me by the throat. Marijuana to ease my back. This is what we have got. Stop electrification! And I am not enough. Hey! I am Stanford and Bobby Stern. Shame! I'm not a smack harder than name out there. You should all see this. You bring what is possible to. You not fear them. I'm a free American.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Matthew Abel. He's the campaign director. Campaign director for Committee for a Safer Michigan. RepealToday.org. People go to RepealToday.org. We have a legalization effort in full swing right now for the first time in the history of Hash Bash. Please welcome Matthew Abel.
Thank you, Charlie. Happy Hash Bash 2012, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Abel, and I have the pleasure of, well, thank you to Nick Zattel, the U of M SSDP, Charlie Olson, Chuck Ream, and Rory Gould, who were instrumental in bringing Mr. Steve DeAngelo here. And thank you, Steven, for coming here to Ann Arbor, or welcome back. I am the director of Michigan Normal, I'm proud to say, and thank you. That's the Michigan chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and that's what we are trying to do. And so, this year, I also have the pleasure of being the director of the Committee for a Safer Michigan. That's the name of the ballot question committee to which you can write your checks if you want to support this repeal effort. Our website is repealtoday.org. That is repealtoday.org, and that's what we want to do. So what happened was, I'm a lawyer, I've been practicing for 25 years, and enough people had come to us. You know, last year at Hash Bash, I had no clue that this would be happening now, or else we would have prepared sooner, let me tell you. But over the last year, so many people came to us and said, you know, the law is being implemented so harshly against medical marijuana patients and so improperly. And what are we going to do? And, you know, we held out some hopes that the courts would go the right way. We held out some hopes the legislature would go the right way, and that's not happening. And so out of frustration, eventually, I said to somebody, well, why don't you show up on Monday night and we'll talk about it? And that first night, 50 people showed up. Who was there that first night? And did we decide that first night that we needed a statewide ballot initiative? And then we spent the next weeks arguing about what that was going to be. And people said, well, let's do decriminalization. And we wrote it up, and then it took a half an hour to explain it. And everybody said, the heck with that. Let's just legalize it. And Sharmy said, let's just legalize it. And Donna said, let's just legalize it. And Richard said, let's just legalize it. And so, we drafted some language, and we have it here. And we got the support of the Michigan Hemp Education and Marketing Project and Everett Swift's organization, which I'm proud to serve on the board. And we got the support of Michigan NORML. And we got the support of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association. Thank you very much. And we got the support of the National Lawyers Guild, who have been with the cause for a long time. Yes. And so, we are still, the Green Party of Michigan has lent its support to this ballot measure. And so we need your support. And what this is we need 323,000 ballot signatures by the 9th of July in order to put this on the ballot in Michigan. It's a constitutional amendment. It's a statewide ballot measure that says, and if we can, we'll pull the language out here and read it to you. And because I want everybody to be clear, this doesn't require any regulation. It doesn't require any testing. And there are no limits on quantities. So here we go. It's a proposal to amend the Michigan Constitution by adding a new Section 28 to Article 1 to read as follows. Repeal of marijuana prohibition! For persons at least 21 years of age who are not incarcerated, marijuana acquisition, cultivation, manufacture, sale, delivery, transfer, transportation, possession, ingestion, presence in or on the body, religious, medical, industrial, agricultural, commercial, or personal use, or possession or use of paraphernalia shall not be prohibited, abridged, or penalized in any manner, nor subject to civil forfeiture. Provided that no person shall be permitted to operate an aircraft, a motor vehicle, a motorboat, an ORV, a snowmobile, a train, or any other heavy or dangerous equipment or machinery while impaired by marijuana. So go to repealtoday.org, sign the petition to repeal prohibition.
What is this? Oh, wait a minute. What's happening here? What's happening right here? Matthew Abel, God bless you. Thank you so much. Chuck, what do you got in your hand?
I got in my hand my $100 check, okay? I'm just a retired teacher. Everybody here can give Matt a $100 check or get 100 signatures, and then we can do it. Here you go. Made out to
The Committee for a Safer Michigan. No cash donations over $20, and please check your money order. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up?
Yes. 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 Did you see that? Everything we could think of, we said, no, you are not doing this to us anymore. This law puts the federal government on alert and says, if you're going to continue this war, Michigan is not participating.